You can always be thinner. Look better.
So let's talk about that. So in the beginning of the video I said that I was bearish for the day. I was expecting to take shorts. So here I was waiting for shorts. We had at the market open we had this sweep. For me it was not a valid sweep, and because I was only wanting to take longs after we mitigated this for our fair value gap, as you can see here below. And we also have these lows, so I really think that to go higher we need to first mitigate the 4-hour fair value gap. So that was my plan. If we mitigated this fair value gap I would long, but unless we mitigated this I would try to find shorts, because here on the before the market open we had this sweep after PPI or CPI, I don't know. We had this sweep, we closed below, and we have here 1 hour fair value gap, and we respected the hourly fair value gap, and here all the shorts that were taken got liquidated here after this week. So for me it was very bearish. We had this manipulation. I know that we had also manipulation at the low, but we have these for our fair value gap untapped, so I really wanted to see mitigation at the for our fair value gap to take longs. We did not add that, so I was bearish for the day, and I was bearish also because, as you can see, we have the Asian session, London session just going down, and I was expecting to see a sweep at the New York Open and then move down. So here I was waiting to see a sweep at the highs. We had this 5-minute fair value gap, and my plan was here was that we swept this low and then I would try to find shorts. Here we did not have a reason to take shorts, so I waited more here. I waited for this sweep. We had the sweep, double sweep, and here I was very interested because we also had this 1 hour fair value gap, and we swept the high inside of the fair value gap and we respected the gap and started going lower. here we had this inverse fair value gap, but I did not enter that retest because we were still very bullish, and I did not, in my head it was not smart to take shorts right after this inverse fair value gap because we were still very bullish on the 5 minutes, and I would prefer to wait for more confirmations to short, and here we were very bullish on the 5 minutes. So here I waited more, I waited to see if we would create a bearish fair value gap after move down. So here we did not add any fair value gap, and here we had the first fair value gap after this big candle down, and I just I had put my entry here in the middle of the fair value gap, but the price gone a bit sideways and then it gone lower, and here I just took off my entry. I don't think it's smart to wait for an entry because my trades are scalps, and I'll not wait to take a scalp. But it is what it is. My plan was bearish here. I was right about what would happen, but the price did not give me any entry, not even here. We have now, but now I'm not interested. So I think that I've already said what I wanted to. The plan was bearish, we had the sweep like I wanted, we gone lower, but no entry, so today was a bit unfortunate again, no entry again, but it is what it is. I followed my strategy, I was patient, and I did not have an entry, so I don't see a reason to take a trade. The market gave me a clear reason to not, so another day without a trade. So if you like the video, like and subscribe, and see you tomorrow. And yesterday and before yesterday I did not post the video because before yesterday I did not trade it. I was not at home, so I did not took a trade, and yesterday I did not also took a trade, but I was at my computer, but I did not found a trade, and when I was downloading the files it just failed and I could not post the video, and because of that I did not post it. So here is the reason of why I did not record the video. So if you like the video, like and subscribe, and see you tomorrow.